Hey everybody, Chris with Night of Living Card Games. Here today with something a little different. Today I am breaking out the Arkham Horror LCG and getting a game of that recorded and uploaded. So I got into Arkham Horror not right when it came out. I was probably about 6 months behind when it came, or 5 months behind when it came out. And it's been probably my favorite game since then. Love the theme, love the mechanics, the campaigns and everything are really well done. So I am taking the latest campaign, the Feast of Hemlock Vale out, which I have only played once, and that was in multiplayer. And I'm going to run through it with one of the new investigators, Hank Samson, the farmhand, who I have not played before. And we'll see how we do. So Hank Samson is the survivor out of this campaign, and survivor is my jam in Arkham Horror. I do love all the jank that they can do. So as you can see, he's got a survivory stat line: 3 will, 1 investigate, 5 fight, 3 evade, which means getting clues is going to be a little tricky, but we'll give that a try. And a little different about him is he's only got 5 health and 5 sanity. So what happens with him is if you be defeated by damage or horror, you heal all damage, and then you pull a new version of him out. So it's either the Assistant Resolute version, which gives you 3 will, your investigate bumps up to 3, your fight bumps down to 4, and your evade bumps up to 4, and you've got 4 health and 6 sanity. Big thing being is you cannot heal anything from yourself. And then when you get a horror on you, you draw a card. The other side is the Warden Resolute version. So willpower goes up to 4, investigate stays at 1, fight goes up to 6, and evade stays to 3. It's got 6 health, 4 sanity, and then when you get a damage on you, you gain 2 resources. So we are going to have some choices to make as we go, so it's going to be one of those things that I want to take some damage in horror, but not so much that it's going to destroy me. So I've got my investigator board down here. I've got my resources, got all my fun stuff from Buy the Same Token. I've got the map laid out. I'm going to be using these wonderful Buy the Same Token tokens for clues. And then on the flip side, this horrifying elk is the Doom. So I'll be using those for this. And I've got everything set up. So before I go into the act and agenda, just really quick, we'll read the intro. June 1926, Miskatonic Survey, June 1926. Members Marquez, Musgrave, et al. After 3 separate reviews by Miskatonic University's Board and Grant Committee, we have reached Hemlock Isle. Our driver took us across the natural land bridge they call the Causeway, only traversable at low tide, to a small fishing village called Aquan. Bertie showed the locals several sketches and photographs of the alkaline blossom, but the locals would have none of it. Or maybe none of him. Bertie is exceedingly chipper. The survey consists of myself, my assistant Bertie Musgrave, and some contacts of Dr. Armitage. Myself. He insists they accompany me as part of the terms of the grant. I just hope they don't get in my way. The island is private property and has been off limits to visitors for some time, until now. The locals are advertising some kind of festival throughout New England, even as far south as Boston and Arkham. There were no lodgings in Aquan, and according to local rumors, camping on the island is a risky affair. The locals were unresponsive when I pressed further, but I was at least able to procure a map of the island as well as some basic supplies. We were all but resigned to pitching a tent west of Aquan, but then we met a young man named Theo who offered us lodging in a village called Hemlock Vale. That was written by Dr. Rosa Marquez. But really, I think you're going to love it here. Theo shouts from the truck window. Dr. Marquez, athletic and well-tanned at 40, closes her survey journal and looks up at the sky. I don't know anyone who doesn't love Hemlock Isle, Theo continues, and I don't know why we haven't invited folks sooner. I assume you're here for the feast. Is this... I'm not going to do accents or voices on these, so you're just going to have to deal with me. Is this feast some sort of local tradition? Bertie says in a crisp British accent. The breeze stirs the round man's shock of thick hair as he leans forward eagerly. This is the first one ever! Everyone in the Vale pulled out all the stops so everyone feels welcome. We're just so excited to have visitors. The young man laughs as your truck crests the hilltop. Hemlock Isle stretches away in every direction. To the south, glistening black lakes dot a tangled marsh all the way to the coast. Up north, white-capped hills gather around the jutting obsidian rocks, resembling an exposed spine. Past a huddle of hills, the dense western forest grows up the rocky hillside, bisected by a wide river, and even further north, past the White Hills, is a bleak, rocky coastline at the edge of the slaty Atlantic waters. The road takes you past lush farmlands into a village nestled in the hills. Gaudy floral arrangements and brilliant ribbons hang from rooftops and fence posts. A prismatic rainbow shimmers in a cloudless sky, lending the scene an idyllic air. As a truck rolls to a stop in the crossroads, locals and children in white gold cloaks and wooden animal masks gather around you, grinning from ear to ear. Willkommen! An imposing woman with steel gray hair and a white gold cloak cuts through the crowd. Welcome to Hemlock Vale. I am Mother Rachel, and these are my people. What brings you here? And now, the investigators have to make a choice. Do we say that we're here on a survey from Miskatonic University, or that we're here for the feast? I don't think Hank would lie. He seems like a straight stand-up sort of guy, so he would tell the truth that we're here from Miskatonic University. Right? You introduce yourself and members of the survey by name, along with your backing from Miskatonic University. Dr. Marquez leans heavily on her cane as she extends one hand to shake. Add a tablet token to the cast bag for the remainder of the campaign. So I've already got the bag set up over here, per the original instructions. Added the tablet. All right, so Mother Rachel's friendly mask breaks for just a moment as she registers your response. Surveyors, I see. You're quite welcome here as well, but mind your place. We have rules. Do not harm anyone in the Vale, and we will not harm you. Keep to the village at night and take care out in the wilderness. Nature is crueler here. Down the road, a small doe walks alongside a pair of children, almost as if to contradict the matron's words. Before you can ask her more, a gaggle of locals descend on the truck, eager for news from the mainland. After fielding multiple questions about sports outcomes and elections, Dr. Marquez suggests you split up and acquaint yourself with the locals. Ask around about the island and meet back here in an hour. All right, so then we got the setup instructions. And what we're doing is we're going into a prelude. So prelude's got a little bit of a special rules. We set up the map, act, and agenda traditionally. There is no encounter deck, so we don't have to worry about that. We want to go find the residents and increase our relationship with them. And so at the end of the prelude, we get to keep cards in our hand up to our starting hand size, which for Hank is going to be 5. You get to keep your resources in play up to the starting resources, so up to 5. And then you get to keep a single asset in your play area that doesn't normally start. So we get to play something and get it there. And then any clues we control. I believe, let me check. I need to check one thing. I believe we also, in Preludes, don't get to mulligan. But let me double check that real quick. Looking. I don't see anything about it. So I swear, though... Oh, there we go. Preludes are non-confrontational. No, it doesn't say anything about new... no mulligans, so maybe I was playing that wrong. All right, so we start our location at the Crossroads. So the Crossroads is a 2 Shrouds 0 clue location. For an action, you can ask the locals about the Vale, and then we read an entry from the book. And as a fast action, if there are exactly 1 or 2 investigators in the game, during your turn, move to a connecting location. So a free move. Helps for the lower player counts to be able to get around and help people. So we're going to start ourselves here. Might have to spread these out a little bit as we get stuff there. Let us draw our opening hand. Sparrow Mask, Idol of Xanatos, a Matchbox, Meat Cleaver, and Inquiring Mind. Okay, I'm going to keep the Meat Cleaver and Inquiring Mind, and then I guess since I didn't see anything about no mulliganing, I am going to draw 3 more. So Stout-Hearted, Makeshift Trap, and a Look What I Found. So I'm hoping, I built this deck, I'm hoping, really hoping, that I put enough clue tech in here. We'll find out. This one, there's only 1 clue to get, but we'll see as the scenarios go on if I have to do anything different. All right, so my turn. First things first, I'm going to take my first action. I'm going to spend 3 resources to get my Meat Cleaver out. So this way I have a weapon as we go into things. Then my second action, I am going to ask a local about the Vale. So I read entry 10. Let's see here. Dozens of workers bustle around the base of the large tree at the center of the crossroads. Many faces on the tree leer down at you with a myriad expressions, some laughing, others in grief or terror. Each expression is grotesquely exaggerated. When you ask someone about the tree, they pause to consider their words. The tree is the effigy, a likeness of, well, maybe it's best not to think of it as a heavenly spirit, the same spirit that lives in each of us. The foreman tells you that you will have to work through the night and anticipation of rain tomorrow. As you watch them work, one carpenter trips and falls. Theo runs from his truck and picks her up as she clutches her eye and laughs hysterically. You may either draw 1 card or gain 1 resource. I'm going to gain a resource. Search for the set-aside residence for Theo and put him into play at the crossroads face up. Okay, so Theo. See, as a resident asset, and then as an action, we can choose to discard cards from our hand equal to the current day number to talk with him. So we're going to put him at the crossroads. And now for my last action, I will discard 1 card from my hand. It will be Stout-Hearted to talk to him. So that is number 8. Hold on, Theo says to the workers, pressing a cold cloth to her forehead. After another pained laugh, she passes out. You ask Theo what happened. It's kind of like heat stroke, except more like you sort of work yourself into a good mood. And then it's, well, I really don't know what it is. Sometimes people just get sick. Several locals carry the worker away to a nearby shed. After some banter, you ask Theo about any good areas to survey local wildlife on Hemlock Isle. He smiles broadly. My sisters and I saw the biggest horseshoe crab on Aquan shoreline. I don't know if it's still there, but I swear it was the size of a buggy. And I have some family business in Aquan if you want to tag along today. I may immediately move to any location. I'm gonna move over to the old mill because I want to get that clue. And then I increase Theo's relationship level. All right, that was my 3 actions. I played my Meat Cleaver. I did that. And then I chatted with Theo. So we are in upkeep. Well, it would be the enemy phase, but there are no enemies. So now we are in upkeep. We draw a card, which is a Mysterious Raven. And then we gain a resource, putting us at 4. All right, now we get... Oh, I did forget to take a look at the Act and Agenda. Maybe this is where it says... Nope, doesn't. All right, so the Act. Dawn of the First Day. The village beams with excitement. Children play along the roadside wearing animal masks, while others hang gaudy flowers on eaves and along fences. Investors cannot take damage in horror or be defeated, and then the objective is to befriend the locals and prepare for your first survey. The agenda. Welcome to Hemlock Vale. The Miskatonic survey is staying in Hemlock Vale and making preparations for today's expedition. The more the locals trust you, the better you will understand the nature of Hemlock Isle. When you draw a weakness, cancel its revelation effect and discard it. And one thing I did forget to do during the setup, you're supposed to add Doom to the agenda for each investigator in play. So there was already 1 on it. So now we start the next phase. So we get 2 out of 6. There is no encounter deck to draw from, so we just go. All right, so first action, I'm going to investigate here using Inquiring Mind. So it's commit to a skill only if there's a clue at your location. So it gives me 3 icons. So that puts me at 4 versus 2. I'm going to just try that. Skull. Skull is X, where X is the current day number. And it is day 1, so -1. So I succeed, and I get this clue. And now the Old Mill's location, which I didn't show before. It was 2 shrouded, had 1 clue, and it says, as a reaction, after you discover a clue at the Old Mill, read entry 12. So entry 12. Dr. Marquez leans precariously on her cane as she takes samples of various wildflowers around the mill. Take a look at this. The professor holds out a sample that looks like a blend of brilliant violet, trillium, and lupine flowers spliced at the stem. It's similar to the strange blossom that prompted this survey. Monopodial with dozens of different expressions, but no evidence of grafting. It grew naturally. You ask how this is possible, and the professor grins. It isn't, which is exactly why this survey is going to make my career. You may either draw 1 card or gain 1 resource. I'm going to draw a card into Idol of Xanatos, and then go look for Leia Atwood and put her into play. Okay, here is Leia. And to parlay with her, I do a Fight 2 test. All right. Okay, so that was my first action, was to look for a clue. Second action, I'm going to try to parlay with Leia. So I am a 5 versus a 2. Skull, again, -1. So I succeed. So I get to read another entry. The red-cheeked older woman introduces herself as Leia Atwood, Mother Rachel's sister. I am in charge of everything folks around here put in their bellies. And yes, that means I'm in charge of the feast. My sister has been very particular about everything she wants to prepare in advance. You ask her about any points of interest to survey in Hemlock Isle, and she wipes her brow with a gloved hand. You barely need to leave the Vale before you see something odd. She puts 1 hand on her hip. I'm planning to go up to Pearl Ridge today. Something up there turned the trees to glass. I'm not sure if that's what you're looking for, but it's definitely unique. You may play a tool card from your hand, ignoring its cost. And then I increase relationship level with Leia. I do not have a tool card in my hand, so I can't do that. So first action, get a clue. Second action, parlay. Third action, I'm going to come up here, And then I'm going to trigger the the free action to move down to the boarding house. And we're going to call that done. So enemy phase, no enemies. Upkeep, draw a card, which is another Inquiring Mind. Gain a resource to get up to 5. No encounter card, so we go to Mythos, so we get a third Doom. We're at 3 out of 6. My turn. I am going to do the action on Boarding House, which is a 3 Shroud, 0 clue location. Action, you ask around about the Vale, or I could heal 1 damage or horror once per game. All right, so let's ask around. Blossoming garlands hang from every eave of the boarding house. A succulent smell wafts out of the front door, meat pies and beer brewing. Proprietor introduces herself as Miss Olmsted and offers you a room. I keep my eye on happenings around town. If you want to know what folks get up to in the Vale, I'm happy to help. When you ask her about the beer, she waves one hand dismissively. Don't bother reporting me to the prohibitionists. We keep our own rules on Hemlock Isle, she tells you. That is, unless someone gets in their way. Oh, no, sorry. That is, unless someone gets their way. You look in on the porch to see a gorgeous figure with skin the color of umber. They wear a trendy dress with a white gold veil cloak tossed casually over their shoulders as they do embroidery. Bertie sheepishly questions them, holding up a few photographs and sketches of the sample that drew you here. You may either draw 1 card or gain 1 resource. Let's gain a resource. And now it says, go find River Hawthorne and put her into play. So here is River Hawthorne. And parlay either willpower or investigate 3. And then if you succeed, read some more. All right, so that was first action. This one's going to be a little tricky. I don't have great stats on this one, unless I want to pitch most of my hand. So that would get me up to, I can either get up to 5 investigate if I pitch basically my entire hand, or 4, I'd only be 1 up. I'm going to try it. So second action, I'm going to try to parlay using willpower, committing Idol of Xanatos. So I'm a 4 versus 3. Only a 1. Skull. Okay, -1. So I succeed. So let's read us about River. I'm friends with the great profile. You may know him as John Barrymore. We met at a piazza in Rome. Utter serendipity. River bubbles as they chat with Bertie. Although my last name is Hawthorne, I'll have you know I'm a Hemlock through and through, the last heir to the Hemlock fortune. That is, if sweet William actually listens, they say sourly. Bertie fields several more questions about current going-ons in New York's high society, of which he knows nothing, before asking River about points of interest. I hear Northport Mines has some fascinating crystals, they answer. Gain 3 resources. So that puts me from 6 to 9. And then I increase my relationship level. Okay, so first action was to do the location action. Second action was to parlay. Third action, I guess we're going to come over to the Vale Schoolhouse. That ends my turn. Enemies. No enemies. Upkeep, draw a card into a lucky, gain a resource. All right, we are at 4 of 6 Doom on this. My turn. We are going to do the action. Not going to be able to, looks like I'm not going to be able to get to that top row, but I should be able to get to the schoolhouse and hopefully the commons before I doom out. So we are going to, while here at the Vale Schoolhouse, 3 Shroud has an action to peruse the school library or to search your deck for a tome asset and draw it, which I don't have any tome assets. So, all right, so we are going to check out the schoolhouse. The bell atop the schoolhouse rings 3 times as you approach, summoning children in animal masks. It's a terrifying thought. A young red-haired girl in a rabbit mask trips and falls on her way up, and you help her up. The thin, severe teacher invites you inside and gestures at the 2 bookshelves against the back wall. The Vale's meager community library. A stately middle-aged man with a hickory-brown skin and a gray beard peruses the other shelf as you look at the library's offerings. A few battered issues of Tales from Nevermore, a survival handbook, and handwritten stacks of old recipes. "But where's Edie?" one of the children, or Edie, asks one of the children. The teacher replies in a sing-song voice. "Mother Rachel told me that Edie has found her place and that we shouldn't worry about her." "Now what do we say?" "Mother Rachel knows best," the class says in unison. Either draw a card or gain a resource. Since I'm sitting on 10 resources, might as well draw a card, which is a Glimmer of Hope. And then go get William Hemlock and put him into play here. So William Hemlock, if you got him in an ally, he bumps your investigate. And then parlay test book 2. If you succeed, read an entry. Ooh. Okay. How much? So I can go 1 up. You know, we're just going to do it because I've got a lucky in hand. So we are testing 1 against 2. -1, so that's a 0. I'm going to spend 1 to play Lucky. Lucky says if you would fail a skill test, give yourself +2. So I get a +2, so I am a 2 versus 2, which means I succeed. Outside of the Vale schoolhouse, you greet a man who introduces himself as William Hemlock. "I heard we had visitors. I just didn't expect to meet them so soon. And yes, I am the last living heir to the Hemlock family," he blusters, "although you didn't ask. Or perhaps not the very last if that gatecrasher River has their way," he snarls. You note the worn copy of Walden under his arm and ask about any points of local interest. "I know it's rather unconventional, but my family's old house has a peculiar infestation." He seems to chew his own words. "If you could exterminate whatever it is rather than study it, I think we'd all be in your debt. So I can search the top 9 cards of my deck for a tome or talent card and add it to my hand, and I increase the relationship level." So I don't think I have any, but we'll check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. I know I have no tome. I don't know if I have any talent. Well, if I do, it wasn't in the top 9 cards of my deck. So let me shuffle this up. So first action, Schoolhouse. Second action, Parlay. Third action, move up to the Commons. 1 Shroud, 0 Clues. Action, you inspect the communal hall and check out the local delivery service. Right, that is my 3 actions. So, enemies, no enemies. Upkeep, draw a card, which is resourceful. Gain a resource to put us back at 10. And now we move to the Mythos phase. So we are at 5 of 6, so we are in the Witching Hour. And now it's our turn. So we are going to do the actions on the Common, which is inspect the communal hall. "Welcome to the Vale," a young woman with a bob cut greets you as you enter through the double barn doors. "It's been so long since we had visitors. One thing you got to know about the Vale is that we do most everything in the Commons. I know Sister Leia is planning a community dance tomorrow evening." "Hey, Gideon, no smoking inside," the woman barks at an old man in a long blue sailor's coat in the corner. He stands up and hobbles outside, grumbling. You notice the corkboard on the back wall is pinned with children's drawings of plants and birds with extra teeth, eyes, and limbs. The woman breaks your focus. If you ever want to call for anyone back on the mainland, or, send a gift to a special someone in the village, I'm your girl. You can call me Martha Jean. Search the top 9 cards of your deck for an ally and add it to your hand. And then go get Gideon Mizra and put him into play in the commons. Right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Let's see, I only have one ally and one copy of it left. And it's not in the top 9. So, no cards there. All right, let's go find Gideon Mizra, the seasoned sailor. When you have him as an ally, you get an additional accessory slot. Oh, double action to parlay him. Okay, well, first action was that, so I guess my last 2 actions is going to be to parlay Gideon. You're no good, Martha Jean, mumbles the old man. He regards you warily until you mention coming from Arkham. Might have been some 30 years back. I sailed past a queer light beneath the Miskatonic River. The old sailor's story quickly meanders into 5 other less interesting tales, but you listen till the end. When you ask about local points of interest, he replies, Look out. Ye won't take 5 steps out of the vale before something bites ye. Draw 3 cards and then increase their relationship level. So I get a well-dressed, a glimmer of hope, and my weakness, which says if I get it, just cancel the revelation effects and discard it. And here is my signature weakness, by the way. Where's Paul? Revelation. Discard cards from the top of the encounter deck until an enemy is discarded. Attach Where's Paw to the enemy and spawn it at a connecting location if able. And the attached enemy gains elusive. And forced at the end of the round, Hank Samson takes 1 direct horror. All right, so that is that. That is all 3 of my actions. Enemy phase, no enemies. Now we are in upkeep. We draw a card, which is a matchbook, and we gain a resource to briefly get us to 11 resources. And then we get to the Mythos phase, where we add our 6th Doom on Agenda 1A, Welcome to Hemlock Vale. So it advances. Birdie approaches absolutely winded. Dr. Marquez requests your immediate presence. He huffs, butting into your conversation. And believe me, she will not like it if you're late at all. Each investigator resigns. Read Resolution R1. Okay, so you meet Dr. Marquez and Birdie back at the crossroads. After you each share some leads, the professor lays out a map of Hemlock Island. I didn't expect the village to be so religious. They almost seem to be living in some transcendentalist ideal. I have no idea what they actually believe, mind you, but they seem friendly enough. Friendly's a word for it, Dr. Marquez smiles grimly. We have a good 3 days before the island is overrun with tourists, and I hate tourists. You and me both, Doctor. That sounds rather ill-natured given the celebration, Birdie ventures. Dr. Marquez gives him a withering look. What I mean is that they'll disrupt the local habitats, so our time is limited. We can split up to cover more ground, or we can stick together. Theo has volunteered to drive us anywhere we need to go, and even said we could take his truck at night, though we aren't to tell Mother Rachel. Given the stories of deadly wildlife, I've hired Judith to accompany me to Eastwick Bog. Either of you are welcome to join. Just be back by sundown. I plan to take a walk to the western woods, Birdie says. Alone, if you don't mind. If Miss Olmsted's description are to believe, they're quite stunning. You consider your options. So make preparations for your first survey. Choose 1 asset in your play area to keep for the next scenario. I only have 1, so I'm keeping my meat cleaver. Discard down to your opening hand size, and then shuffle your discard pile into your deck. And for the next scenario, you will not draw a new opening hand or take a mulligan. All right, so what do I want to do? I want to keep Inquiring Mind. Look what I found. I think a matchbook. We'll do Mysterious Raven and a Resourceful. I'm going to pitch Makeshift Trap, both my Glimmer of Hopes, and a Well-Dressed. Shuffle these up, and then discard down to your starting resources. Bye-bye, wealth. Okay, exploring the Isle is allegedly dangerous. Add 1 auto-fail token to the chaos bag for the remainder of the scenario. So here is my tentacles into the bag. Okay, so our choices are, we can go up to Northport Mine because it lies empty and overrun with strange wildlife. To the south, the Hemlock House is host to a strange infestation. The devastated Pearl Ridge in the northwest is covered in a persistent layer of white ash. Northeast is Aquan, a dwindling settlement of the Abenaki and mariners of the desolate coastline. Or, Dr. Marquez believes Eastwick Bog to the southeast may be the origin of the sample that drew you here. Alright, I want to go to where I'm going to go look at that giant crab. So I got to figure out which one that was. Let's see. So that was Theo. That was number 8. So I'm going to do that one. On the Aquan shoreline. So it looks like we're going to Aquan. Okay. Okay, so we're going to choose to save the lost sister. Okay, so we are going to the Lost Sister scenario. So I'm going to pause this while I get the new scenario set up, and we will go from there. And we're back. All right, I have the Lost Sister scenario set up. So I will read the intros and take a look at the act and agenda and explain the situation before we get ourselves kicked off. You're sitting in the small kitchen of the Peters family home in Aquan on the northern shore of Hemlock Isle. Cold Atlantic seawater laps at the stilts below the house as Helen Peters sets her steaming mug on the table. The North Shore caverns are a death trap, she says. I don't think you know what you're getting into. You tell her that you're well aware of the danger. According to the local rumors, some folks have gone missing already. The most recent disappearance was Helen's sister, so you paid a visit to the Peters home to offer your help. Helen looks you over as if sizing you up and finally nods. All right, then. You're either brave or you're stupid. Or you're both, like my little brother. She rubs her brow in frustration. I last saw Elizabeth, taking a walk with our dog, Bruce, along the coastlines. I told her to stay away from those caves, but she never listens. It's easy to get lost in them, and there are things that'll haunt your nightmares. She sets a flashlight on the table. But that's where we're going to start. So you follow Helen outside onto the boardwalks of Aquan Village. The steady swell and break of seawater on the shore leads to an eerie disquiet. She grabs a harpoon from the whaler's shack and leads you to the beach. So a familiar pickup truck stops nearby, and Theo steps out and greets you with a broad smile. I'm back. I had to run to the Vale for something, he waves, but his smile vanishes when he sees Helen. I'm surprised you came, Helen says coolly. Theo looks crestfallen. Of course I came, sis. How could I not? Her sister says nothing as she strides past both of you towards the bleak shoreline. A curl of waves crashes against the walk, breaking the apparent drama of the moment. You ask Theo for the reason behind her sister's chilly response. You know, sometimes people just grow apart, like two branches. They'll always be connected, but the extended metaphor is interrupted by Helen, calling you to the mouth of a seaside cave. So as part of the setup, we get, now, one investigator will get this, but since I'm solo, I get her. Helen Peters. So for Hemlock Vale, there are day and there are night, and so a lot of cards react differently during the day and night. So Helen's gives me a +1 fight in the daytime or a +1 evade at nighttime. And then, as a reaction, after you enter a location, exhaust Helen Peters and deal 1 damage to her to choose a non-elite enemy at your location and automatically evade it. 3 health, 2 sanity. We also get, because it is day 1, we also get Theo. So we don't need to worry about the parlay, but we get an extra action during your turn, which can only be used for moving. And 2 damage, 3 sanity threshold, and after he's defeated, put him aside and decrease our relationship level with him. All right, let's look real quick at Act 1A, the missing sibling. So we're going to find the missing sister. Forced, after the last clue is discovered from a cave location, put the top card of the Caverns deck into play adjacent to that location. And the objective is to find the missing sister, Elizabeth. If the investigators have found a torn dog leash and found a set of footprints, immediately advance. So this one is going to be having to find clues to explore the caverns and find the sister. So this may not have been the best place to go to because I'm not great at cluing. All right, so the agenda is a 4-clue threshold, and it says cards in dark location use the night effects. Cards in all other locations use the day effect. So when we're going through the caves, as you'll notice, some of these, it says cave and dark, so that would indicate whether you use light or dark. Looking at the chaos bag real quick, skull is -X, where X is half the number of revealed cave locations in play, rounded up. Cultist is a -1 if you succeed, heal a horror. Tablet is -2 if you're at a cave location. Treat this token as -4 instead. And Elder Thing, we don't have any in the bag right now. And then this right here is our cavern deck when we do it, and we start the scenario at Aquan. 3 shrouds, 0 clues, action to resign to give up the search. If it is day 1 or 2, Aquan gains action parlay. You ask around the village about the coastal caves. Look at the top 3 cards of the cavern deck. Return them to the top of the caves deck in any order. All right. Oh, I'm sorry. I had these backwards. The end of the caves, it's a 4 doom threshold. I have those in the wrong place. And then if we get the stuff that we need, we advance. It's not a clue. We do need clues just to open up cave locations. All right, so let us start. We're going to use our free action from Theo. We're going to move over to this caverns. It is Dry Burrow. It is a cave and it is dark, so we don't get the day ability, we'll get the night. So 2 shroud, 1 per investigator clue, and at day it would have a free action to move to a connecting location once per round. Night force, after you end your turn in Day Burrow, take 1 horror. Well, that stinks. All right, so we are going to get 1 clue on this location. So I haven't done a real action yet. All right, so first action I'm going to investigate. I'm going to use Inquiring Mind. So that puts me at a 4 versus a 2. Oh, Elder Signs, that's a good thing. It's just a +1 effect. That's a pretty vanilla effect. So I succeed. I was a 5 versus a 2, so I get the clue. So, and I kept my clue from the last scenario, so not that that matters. So I put the top card of the cavern deck into play adjacent. I'm going to put it down here so I can connect up. So that was first action. Second action, I'm going to move to this cave location. All these locations are connected horizontally and vertically, so orthogonal, not diagonal. We hit another dry burrow. Oh, brilliant. Same thing. It's dark, so if we end our turn here, we're taking a horror. All right, so second action. Yeah, second action, I'm going to spend 1 to play my matchbook. So matchbook is a asset that doesn't take up any slots. It has 3 uses. And for a fast action, I can, during any investigator's turn, exhaust the matchbox and spend 1 supply. The location gets -1 shroud until the end of the turn. All right, and I'm actually going to move out of here because there's nothing stopping me from moving. I don't have to stay in here if I don't want to. So let's take a look at this connecting cavern, which is an overgrown tunnel, 3 shroud, 1 clue, and while it has clues on it, you must spend 1 additional action to move out of the tunnel. Okay. But nothing bad happens to me if I end my turn here. Okay, so that is my turn. Enemies, no enemies. So upkeep, we draw a card, which is into a Gravedigger's Shovel, and gain a resource. All right, so we are getting 1 threat on the main, so we're at 1 of 4. We do have an encounter deck, so we are drawing encounter cards again. We get Sudden Mutation, Revelation, attached to the nearest non-elite enemy. If you cannot, go search the encounter deck and discard pile for a mutated enemy and draw it. Okay, well, guess I'm getting an enemy on me right away. Let's see here. That's a mutated one. That's a mutated one. That's a mutated one. Okay, so those are my 3 choices. So the black Amanita was a 2/2/3, and because we're in a dark location, it would choose the night, so it is massive. And then forced after you discover a clue at this location or a connecting location, and it's ready, take a direct horror. Cavern Moss, aloof and hunter, and while it's attached to an asset, it may be attacked. And after you succeeded a skill test while fighting or investigating at the location, if it is ready, attach the Cavern Moss to an item asset you control. Treat the asset's text box as if it were blank. Don't like that one. And a Corpse Lichen, 4/4/3, night, it is a hunter and alert. And then after it attacks, heal 1 damage from it. I think we're going to be going for the black Amanita. So it'll be a massive 2/2/3. All right, so since it's massive, it's just going to stay here. All right, so my turn. First turn, I am going to attack with my Meat Cleaver. I get +1 attack, and if the attack defeats an enemy, heal 1 horror. As an additional cost to activate this ability, you can take 1 horror to have the attack deal +1 damage. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to take a horror. So I'm swinging in at a 6 versus 2 right now. 0, I succeed. That's 2 damage. That kills the Amanita. And then because I defeated an enemy, I get to heal a horror. That was first action. Second action. Yeah, we're going to spend 1 to get our mysterious raven friend out. So it is an ally, has 1 sanity, no health, and as a fast action I can discard it and take a horror to find 1 clue at my location. So I am going to take a horror and discard a mysterious raven as a fast action to get a clue. And we're going to put the cave over here. So then third action, I'm going to move out of this. And because it doesn't have clues on it, I don't have to spend the additional action. So we get a weed-choked beach. So this is a coastal location. 3 shroud, 1 clue. Forced after you fail a skill test while trying to evade. Lose an action. And forced, when you would leave it, reveal a chaos token. If you do a symbol, you must either cancel the effect of the move or discard an item asset you control. Now, this is in the daylight. This one is not dark, so it is not going to do those things. So that was fight, play the raven, discard it was free, move. My turn is done. Enemy phase, none. Upkeep, draw a card into find close, and gain money. All right, Mythos phase. We put a Doom on the agenda, so we are at 2 of 4, and we draw our encounter card, which is Calcification. Put it into play in your threat area. The first time you move each round, take 1 direct damage, and then test evade 3. If you succeed, discard it. Or you may take a direct damage for this test to automatically succeed. All right, so first action, we are going to test calcification. We're going to throw fine clothes in there, so we are a 4 versus a 3. Zero, I succeed. So we discard this. I'm going to leave the weed-choked beach alone, and I'm going to go up to this cavern location here, which is a rocky shoreline. And forced, after you reveal it, spawn the set-aside crustacean hybrid enemy at this location in the light side face up. 3 shroud, 1 clue. All right, well, this just got interesting. Crustacean hybrid in the light. 3 fight, 3 health, 4 evade. It is an elusive and a hunter. Crustacean hybrid gets plus X health, where X is the current day number, so it gets a +1. When crustacean hybrid would be damaged from attack, reduce that damage to 1. Oh, well, that's just rude. Okay, so that is engaged with me right now. So 1 action was to get rid of the calcification. 2nd action was to move up here. 3rd action, I'm going to hit it. So I'm not going to take the horror because I can only do 1 damage to this thing anyway. So I am a 5, 6, and because I'm in the daylight, 7 versus 3. Whew, -4. That's 3 versus 3, so I succeed. So it takes a damage. And then it runs away. We're going to put it over at Aquan with a damage, and it exhausts. Let me confirm that. So elusive is a new keyword. If a ready enemy with the elusive keyword attacks or is attacked after that attack resolves, the enemy immediately disengages from all investigators, moves to a connecting location, and exhausts. So, I don't have to worry about it this turn. Okay, so that was first action was calcification, second action move, third action attack. I am done. All right, enemy phase. Enemy is exhausted, so nothing happens there. Upkeep. Oh, shoot. I forgot to do this. So, what does it say? So, when you would leave Weed-Choked Beach, reveal a token. If that is revealed, then you must either cancel it or not. So, we might have to backtrack here, or discard an item. I guess I'd have to discard my matchbox. Okay, so that's a 0. Okay, I succeed. Okay. So now we're on upkeep. Ready everything up. Draw a card. Idol of Xanatos. Gain a money up to 6. All right, we get a Doom. We're up to 3 of 4. And counter card is Desiccation. Put it into play next to the agenda deck. As an additional cost to play a card, they must take a damage, and at the end of the round, discard 1 copy of it. All right. So playing a card is different than committing a card, so... Okay, so I think what we're going to do is, first action, we're going to move down. Let's see. So I've got a look what I found in my hand, but I don't want to play around with that until there's got to be locations with two clues per investigator on it. So I want to hold on to that. Unfortunately, the best I can do at most things is get to even. Ugh. You know what? Second action, I'm going to take a damage. And spend 2 to get my Gravedigger Shovel out. And then for my third action, I'm going to discard the Gravedigger Shovel to discover 1 clue at my location. So I get another clue, and then the next card in the Cavern deck comes down. I'm going to put it down there. And that is my turn. Oh no, I get a free move action. I keep forgetting that. Okay, so let's do the free move action. And then this time I'm going to remember to do the test. It's a skull, so I either cancel it or discard an item. I'm going to cancel it. All right, so this guy hunts over here. And now we're at the upkeep phase. So draw a card, which is winging it, and then gain a resource. Okay. Nice to see winging it. All right, so we put a Doom on here. We are 4 of 4 Doom, so we advance the agenda. A whirring, chittering sound echoes off the tunnel walls. A large crab-like creature emerges from a nearby tidal pool, antenna swaying in the air as if searching for you. The thing moves surprisingly fast on dozens of legs, and its carapace is covered in sharp barnacles and strings of kelp and rotten seaweed. Whatever it is, it emits the most awful, rotten stench you have ever smelled. Spawn one of the side crustacean hybrid enemies at the coastal location nearest to the most investigators. Which is where I'm at. Oh. Guess you're in mine. Oh, and these things do have two sides to them. So when I'm in light locations, they're in this. When I'm in dark, they'll flip to the other side. Each investigator at a dark location must discard one card from random at their hand, and then place Doom on agenda 2A equal to the day number. So, agenda 2A, cards at the dark location use the night effects, cards at all other locations use the day effect. So, 12 threat, and then we're done. So, it comes in with one threat on, or one threat, one Doom on it. I've been playing too much Marvel Champions. Okay, and now, oh, the desiccation does go away at the end of the round. And now we still have to draw an encounter card. Reclaim by Nature, Revolution, Daytime, which I am in the daylight. Test, fight 3. If you fail, either take 2 damage or choose the nearest enemy, and that enemy attacks me. All right, so I am a 5/6 because I'm in the day. So 6 versus 3, 3 up. Seems reasonable. 2, I succeed. All right, so first action, I am going to swing my meat cleaver into the crustacean hybrid. So 5, 6, 7 versus 3. Skull is half the number of revealed cave locations rounded up. So 1, 2, 3. 3 divided in half rounded up is a 2 minus 2. I succeed. So it skitters off with a damage. All right, I'm going to try to move down using Theo Peters' free ability. No symbol. Okay, 0. So I succeed. Move down to this cavern, which 3 shroud. It is an open cave. 3 shroud, 1 clue, and then during your turn, test evade 2 gets +1 difficulty for each ready enemy at this location. If you succeed, the open cave lose dark trait until the beginning of the next turn. That really doesn't matter to me. Okay, so that was first action was to attack. Free action to move down. Oh wait, why did I do the resource? It's a clue. Oi. I am going to spend 1 to play Winging It. So I'm going to, well, actually, fast action, I'm going to matchbox one of them. So this is now a 2 shroud location. I am going to wing it, so I'm going to be a 2 versus a 1. Holy crap. That's a +1. I succeed. Was totally not expecting that. I guess I should have committed resourceful to grab something out of it. All right, so I discovered the last clue. So another cave comes in. I'm going to put it over here. Okay, so it was attack, free move, investigate. Third action is going to be to move over to this cavern, which is the suspended graveyard. That sounds really promising. So, 4 shroud, 1 clue. Action, take a horror, you dig through the bone-strewn moss covering the walls. Put the top card of the cavern deck into play adjacent to this location. Group limit once per game. Okay, so that was my 3 actions. So now enemy phase. This one, because he's ready, hunts after me. Right, and now we get to upkeep phase. Ready all the cards. draw a card, a lucky, and gain a resource. All right, let us get a Doom. 2 out of 12, and we get an encounter card, which is a Swarm. Revelation. Test evade 3. For each point you fail by, either lose 1 resource or take 1 damage. So I am in a cave location, so this is considered dark, so I get a +1 evade. So I'm a 4 base, and I'm going to commit resourceful to be this, so I'm 5 versus 3. Three versus 3, I succeed. So then I get to go choose a survivor card in my discard pile to add to my deck. You know, I'm going to pull the Mysterious Raven back. All right, first action. I'm going to spend 1 resource to get the Mysterious Raven down. And then as a fast action, I'm going to take a horror. I'll put it on myself. That's fine. And discard it to get a clue. And so we get to put the top card of the Cavern deck into play. I'm going to move these up a little bit. So first action was to play the Raven. Second action, I'm going to take a horror, and I'm going to put that on Theo to put the top card in adjacent. So I'm going to put it down here. That was my second action. Free action, I'm going to move over here, thanks to Theo's free ability. Suspended Graveyard, same thing. Apparently I did not do a great job of shuffling these up. I got one more action. All right, I am fast action. I am going to do a matchbox. So this is now a 3 shroud location. Then I'm going to play Winging It from my discard pile, so it gets a -1 shroud. So it's a 2. So I am a 1 versus 2. Zero, I fail, but then I am going to spend 1 to play Lucky to give myself a +2. So I am a 3 versus a 2. So I succeed. I get this clue and put this card into the Cavern deck, and then Winging It gets shuffled into my deck. All right, so we played the Raven. We did this action. Free move, investigate. That is my turn. So then these crustacean hybrids hunt, and this guy is now in the dark, so we flip him over to his dark side, which is Hunter. He's a 4/3/3. And he gets +X health, where X is the current day number. So just a +1. So it's a 4/4/3 as opposed to a 3/4/4. So the fight and evade change. And then this one is not, however, elusive. So he is going to stay in fight. Oh, and after he flips to this side, it deals 1 damage to each investigator at his location. Well, that's fine. there are no investigators at its location. So when he eventually gets to us, we can wail on him. Right, so now we are in upkeep phase. Draw a card. Old keyring, that's really nice. Gain a resource. Right, Mythos phase. 1 Doom on the main and an encounter card, which is Calcification. First time you move each round, take 1 direct damage, and then test evade 3 to get rid of it. I don't want to keep taking damage, do I? Oh, ooh, sorry about that. Hit the mic. But at the same time, actually, I'm not going to worry about it because worst case scenario, if I get bumped out, I can always go to the investigate phase, which will make things a lot easier. So first action, I'm going to spend 1 to get my old keyring out. Gives a -2 shroud, and if I fail on the investigate, or if you succeed, remove a key. So it's got 2 uses, but you're guaranteed successes. So I'm going to free action move down here, which does cause me to take a direct damage. Let's see what's in this cavern. 3 shroud, 1 clue. Investigators at Hidden Cave or Hidden Cove spend 2 clues per investigator as a group to remember that the investigators found a dog leash. Beautiful. All right, it has 1 clue on it. So that was a free action. First action, I'm going to spend 2 clues. And I found a dog leash. So now I need to do is find a set of footprints. So I think so that was first action. I'm going to ignore that clue for right now. I'm going to move over here to this location, which is another open cave. 3 shroud, 1 clue. Okay, so free action to move. First action was do this. Second action, move. Third action, fast action, I'm going to matchbox, which does discard this, but it is a 2 shroud location. I am now going to investigate using old keyring to give it a -2 shroud, so it is a 0 shroud location right now. -1, 0 to 0. I win on ties, so I get a clue. All right, well, we're just going to do that. So there is 1 cave location left in the cavern pile. All right, that is my turn. Oh, and I got to take a key off of old keyring. So this crustacean moves here. This crustacean moves here. So we are going to have to be doing some fighting. And then we get to upkeep. So we draw a card, which is a makeshift trap. Oh, and then a resource. Jumping ahead of myself here. Now we get a Doom, and now we get an encounter card, which is Swarm. Test evade 3 for each point you fail by. Either lose a resource or take 1 damage. So I am currently a 4 versus a 3. I'm just going to do it, so I am 1 up. That's going to be a fail, but the question is by how much? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 divided by 2 is 3.5. round up, so -4. So that was a 0 versus 3. Ouch. So I either take 3 damage or resources or some combination thereof. I'm going to lose 1 resource and take 2 damage. So that puts me at 4 out of 5 damage before I flip. All right. So my turn. Problem is, if I move, that pops it. So the question is, do I guess I take a turn to try to beat that, but I'm only 1 up. Or do I just let it pop? You know what? I'm just going to let it pop. So I'm going to do Theo's free action to move. And then this is going to cause me a direct damage, which puts me at 5 damage. And this says, when I would be defeated by damage or horror, instead heal all of your damage and horror. And then swap this card with a resolute version, either side face up. So taking a look, I can either do the assistant, which bumps my investigate up, but and my evade up, but knocks my fight down 1. Or this one bumps my willpower and fight up 1, but the other 2 stay the same. I think I'm going to do the assistant side because between the meat cleaver, yeah, with the meat cleaver, I am going to, I think I'll be able to do more. So, yeah. All right. We'll try, well, no, because if I'm not in a night location, no, we're gonna go to the warden side, so that we've got our big fight here, because we got these 2 crustaceans that are gonna come bother us. So, all right. So first things first, the cavern flips to an underground pools. 3 shroud, 1 clue, and then we can spend 2 clues as a group to remember that the investigators found a set of footprints. Right, so now the crustacean hybrid engages us. So that was a free action. First action, I'm going to attack with meat cleaver. So that puts me at a 6, 7, and this is a dark location, so 7. 7 versus 4. Oh, there's a clue here. -1. I succeed, so it takes a damage. Second action, I'm going to do meat cleaver, but I'm going to take a horror, and I'm going to put that onto Theo. Actually, no. I am going to put that onto myself. So I have 3 or fewer sanity, so I get a +2. So 6 and 8 versus 4. Auto fail. All right. So that was second action. So third action, I'm going to do the same thing, but I am going to put the horror on Theo this time. Again, 8 versus 4. -2. I succeed. It takes 2 damage and dies. It is a victory. So I'll put that over there. I'll put that up here. So that's victory 0. And then I get to heal a horror. I'll take it off of Theo because I can't heal myself. And that's going to do it for me. Right, enemy phase. This crustacean hybrid comes and hits me. Comes down. And then it hits for 1 and 1. I'm going to put 1 on Helen and another one on Theo. Okay, and now upkeep. Enemies already moved and done their stuff, so I draw a Glimmer of Hope and gain a resource. And now we get a Doom, 5 out of 12. Encounter card is Reclaimed by Nature, so I test Will 3. If you fail, either take 2 horror or each enemy at your location heals 1 damage. Alright, so I am a 4. I'll commit Glimmer of Hope and Idol of Xanatos to be 3 up. So I'm a 6 versus a 3. +1, I succeed. All right, first action, we are going to attack the crustacean hybrid. -1, so I succeed. It takes a damage. Second action, I'm going to attack, and I'm going to put a horror on Helen. Tablet is -2 if you're at a cave location, which I am. It is -4. So 6, 8 versus 4, I still succeed. So it is dead. I'm going to heal a horror off of Theo, and then this also goes into the victory display. So that was action 2. Action 3, let us spend 2 clues, 1, 2, to found a set of footprints. So, if the investigators found a torn dog leash, which I did here, and then found a set of footprints here, immediately advance. She's alive, though I doubt Bruce is, Helen says, gripping the torn dog leash in one hand. You follow her as she tracks a set of footprints deeper into the darkness. As your eyes readjust to the low light, you notice the footprints glow with the leavings of bioluminescent fungus covering the cave floors. It's this way. Be ready for anything, Helen says. You steel yourself and keep step beside her. Ahead, an unsettling click and whir tells you that you are far from alone. Choose a coastal location with no investigators. Put the set-aside fungal cave location into play adjacent to the chosen location. Okay. And then put the top card of the caverns deck into play adjacent to the fungal cave. Repeat this until the fungal cave is connected to 4 locations or the cavern deck is empty. All right, so coastal. It doesn't say do it at the farthest location. Just choose a location with no investigators if possible. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So either... I'm not going to put it at this one because that's when you need to do the test for things. So, all right, so we're going to put it there. All right, so fight. Found a set of perfects. That is 3. Oh, I got to get my next act into play here. So Act 2A, spend 1 clue and choose an enemy in a connecting dark location to move that enemy to your location. And when we enter the fungal cave, immediately advance. And then the fungal cave does say on it, that has an additional cost to enter the cave. We have to spend 2 clues, which I have enough clues, so that should not be a problem. All right, so that is that. Enemies. There are no enemies out. So upkeep. Well-dressed. And gain a resource. So we are up to 4 resources. All right, so we are now at 6 out of 12 Doom. And encounter card is Enervation, maybe. I don't know. Test fight. Reduce the difficulty test by 1 for each damage on you. There are currently none. If you fail, you must either take 2 damage or choose the card with the highest printed cost in your hand and discard it. So that would be Look What I Found. I don't want to do that just in case I need to do the any investigating at the fungal cave. So we are 6 versus 5 right now. 1 up. Skull, that's going to be a fail, so I take 2 damage. All right, first action, I got to get rid of calcification. So we are going to be a 3, a 4. We're going to commit makeshift trap and well-dressed to be a 5, 6 versus 3. Succeed, +1, so that goes away. All right, so that was first action. Free action from Theo, move. Second action, move. Third action, spend 2 clues. And let's come into the fungal cave. 4 shroud, 2 clues. And after you discover 1 or more clues, heal a damage. I can't do that because I cannot be healed. And at the end of the round, each enemy at this location heals 2 damage. And it has a victory 1 on it. Hopefully I don't spawn an enemy here since this is the end of my turn. So, when an investigator enters a fungal cave, immediately advance. Helen! Elizabeth's shrill, desperate cry cuts through the silence. A young woman with a round face and torn clothes hobbles out of the darkness to embrace her sister. As the pair embrace, the reunion is cut short by a fearsome screech. A massive crustacean the size of a house advances, pincers raised threateningly. The thing's slick, shining form is illuminated in green and blue by the cavern moss, and it emits a smell like rotten shellfish. Can you walk? Helen asks her sister. Lizzie shakes her head. As the massive creature comes closer, you tell the pair to run. Helen looks away for a moment, then nods before carrying her sister away. Spawn the set-aside Limulus hybrid at the fungal cave, and then remove Helen Peters from the game. If Theo Peterson is under the control of any investigators, read a journal entry. Okay, Helen, gone. Limulus hybrid, massive, hunter, retaliate, 4/5/3, but +3 per investigator health. So it is an 8 health enemy. And after you successfully attack Limulus hybrid with a melee card, take a damage. Victory 2. It does 2 damage and 1 horror. Okay. Well, clearly, I guess it was a mistake to come in here with my last action. I probably should have known better, but alas. All right, let's read the codex entry first. Theo watches his sisters flee the cave, clearly conflicted. The mossy cave smells of mildew and decay. The young man backs away as if the monstrous creature lets out a gurgling roar. I forgot something in my truck. I'll be right back. As he flees the scene, remove Theo Peterson from the game. Gee, thanks, Theo. Oi. All right, so we are on Act 3 to spend 1 clue and choose an enemy at a connecting dark location. Move that enemy to your location. And if it is defeated, immediately advance. Oh, so it's making me. So I can either run away and resign or try to cram through 8 health. That's going to be an interesting task. But it doesn't matter because my turn is done. And so now enemy phase, he hits me for 2 and 1. So that puts me at 4 damage. 4 out of 6 damage and 2 out of 4 health. And now we get an upkeep. I got a winging it. And I get a money. Okay. I think we are just going to have to run and hide because I only have melee, so I can't even really hit it. So I'm going to be doing a 3 versus 3 on the old evades, the evade test. Oof. Oh, one or more. When 1 or more damage is placed on you, gain 2 resources. Sure. Not that it matters. Okay, so we get a doom, which puts us at 7 out of 12. And now we get an encounter card, which is place 1 doom on the nearest enemy with no doom on it. And if no doom was placed, discard 2 cards. Okay, so we're really at 8 out of 12 right now. All right, well, thankfully this thing is not alert. Oh yeah, and at the end of each round, each enemy at this location heals 2 damage. So yeah, I have no chance to get out of here. 0, so I succeed. So it's a, oof, thank goodness. And so 1, 2. Yep, 1, 2. And that's my turn. Enemy turn. He's exhausted. So upkeep. We ready that. We draw a card into Stout-Hearted. Well, that would have been nice to have. Fast. When you engage a non-elite enemy, move up to 2 damage and or horror from Hank Samson to that enemy as damage. And I gain a resource. Right, so we're getting a threat. So we are now at 9 out of 12, and we get an encounter card, which is Cavern Moss. It is an aloof and hunter. After you succeed at a skill test while fighting or investigating at this location, if it's ready, attach it to an item. Well, I don't care because I'm running the heck away. All right, my turn. 1, 2, and 3. I can't resign this turn. So enemy phase, this guy, we're going to have him come this way. This guy goes over to Hidden Cove. And now upkeep, draw a card, a Sparrow Mask. That would have been really useful to have earlier. Gain of money. Now we get another doom, so we are at 10 of 12. And now our encounter card is Luminous Growth. Attach it to the nearest revealed dark location without it attached. So I don't care what it does because it is not going to matter to me. And then I resign. Yeah. So let's see what happens if I resign. Proceed to resolution. No resolution was reached because each investigator resigned or was defeated. Your efforts have reached their limits. The unnatural fungus and aggressive wildlife are too much for you to handle. You have no choice but to abandon the search. We each earn 1 bonus experience for coming face to face with the horrors of the cavern. Let's see. Resolution 4. Miskatonic Survey, June 1926. Members Marquez, Musgrave, et al. Northern shore and coastal caves extremely dangerous. Identified dozens of hitherto undocumented species of bioluminescent fungus, an exceedingly hostile ecosystem with extremely sensitive to light. Crossed out, avoid the Aquan Caves if at all possible. It was crossed out. Further analysis and observation recommended. Future expeditions should come prepared with appropriate gear and extreme caution. Nope, avoid it. Each investigator earns experience equal to victory X value of each card in the victory display. Each investigator may now spend the experience recorded under unspent experience. Maybe I should have tried one action to do a look what I found there. But alas, so I get no experience or no victory points because the only victory points I have are 0 in the display. I didn't clear this, didn't kill that. So I get 1 whole XP. All right, so that was that scenario, and then we're going to move into the next prelude, which is the first evening. I am not going to do that right now. I am going to wrap this up and call this a game. Worked okay. I was able to get by with cluing. It wasn't great. It was a little bit painful, but not too bad. The problem was I just couldn't handle this big guy. Even if I wasn't so bad on damage, and even if I didn't take a damage from the melee weapons, I don't think I had enough turns to do 8 damage. Because I just didn't have enough. So, oh well. We'll see how the rest of the campaign goes for good old Hank. So if you made it this far, thank you very much for watching. I'm gonna wrap up the day 1 with the evening session here shortly. But otherwise, thank you for watching. If you saw anything that I did wrong or anything I could do better or have suggestions on what I can do to tweak my deck moving forward, I only have 1 XP, so I'm not going to spend it right now. Just let me know in the comments. And if you want to see more of this campaign or the other games that I play, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Right, well, thanks, everybody. Hope you all have a great day.